Hi, I missed a group presentation and I was originally going to do it on stem cell research, so I'm going to continue to do that. I did my visual aid and edit in a PowerPoint, and it's not really, showing up because it's on my iPad, so I emailed you an attachment with this so you could kind of go along with it and stuff like that, so it wouldn't, be glaring and stuff, so here I go. Okay, when you think of stem cell research, what do you think? Stem cells are cells that can be manipulated to form into any other cell, and they can replace cells that have been broken or damaged. So there are three types of stem cells, and there's embryonic, adult, and neural. And all three of those have several advantages and disadvantages, and there's several misconceptions and myths that go along with those. People are really confused about what stem cell research is and how it's done, and what happens during stem cell research. There are the three types of stem cells, and the first is embryonic stem cells. And what they are is cells that are derived from embryos in vitro. So their eggs have already been fertilized and they're donated. What they are is women get their eggs fertilized and then donate their eggs to medical research facilities to have them, all worked on and researched to place in other people's bodies to fix diseases, or try to fix diseases, or fix, cells that have been broken. Stemcells.nih.gov says that embryonic stem cells are pluripotent, which was a really hard word for me to learn. It said that it means that they can become almost any specialized cell or body tissue. So all that means is that they can literally become anything in your body. They can help you, fight off brain diseases or heart diseases, lung diseases, anything like that. They can, whereas adult stem cells are limited to that one little part of your body. I read an article that said what stem cells can do and can't in U.S. News, and it said that embryonic stem cells have the flexibility to control growth and of cells and tissues needed for treatment. So they can grow, and these cells can control what they do, when they grow, how they grow, what they turn into. They can be manipulated into any kind of cell. It's crazy. I did not know that. They can form into any type of cell, but they cannot completely fulfill the need to become an organism. They can't become a life. If they're an embryo, if they're a blastocyst, they have to stay that. They can't become a baby. They can't become a fetus. They can't become anything like that. So that does mean that the embryos do die. They stay that way. They don't become life. Which leads us to adult stem cells, which don't come from babies, and it says that they maintain and repair the tissue in which they're found. So they have to repair where they are. They can't go to other parts of your body. They can't fix where, they can, if it's something in your brain, if it came from your heart, it can't fix your brain. It's just weird like that. They're multipotent, which means that they're limited to one lineage of specialized cells. So, like I said, they can't go to different parts of your body. They can't, they can't come from your lungs and go to your brain. An example of that is the mesenchymal stem cell. It is a stem cell that can be found in bone marrow, and it produces all cell types of bone, cartilage, blood, and connective tissue. So it has everything to do with the tissue and bone in your body, but it couldn't do anything to help your organs. Scientists now have evidence that stem cells exist in the brain and the heart, two locations where adult stem cells were not at first expected to reside. So scientists are really going a long way in this. They did not think they were ever going to find anything in the heart or the brain. So it's really helped a lot in research. Speaking of research, there is a new stem cell that scientists found, and I really didn't find a lot about it, so I did the best I could, but it was really interesting to me that, there was a new form of stem cell research that nobody really knows anything about yet, so I really thought that was cool, so I decided to put it in the speech anyways. And neural stem cells are multipotent, and so, same as adult stem cells, they can't generate anything else but nerve cells. And their new focus in stem cell research, active neural cells, they don't occur in the adult nervous system, such as blood or the skin. They have been isolated from the adult brain as well as fetal brain tissues, and research is still being done to find out more about neural stem cells, and the scientists expect it to come within the next 5 years. So maybe if I do a speech in 5 years about neural stem cells, I'll know a little bit more. There's a lot of advantages of stem cell research. I read an article that said, what are the benefits of stem cell research? And it said that stem cells provide great potential for discovering treatment and cures of diseases. So these stem cells can cure anything. They have the potential to cure anything, at least. They can cure AIDS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, anything like that. It's crazy to think about what these cells can accomplish. It provides medical benefits of therapeutic cloning and regenerative medicine, so they can't, obviously they can't like clone a human. That's one of the myths that there have been brought up. But they can clone the cells inside your body to create more of them so that they help more people get better. It will help scientists learn about human growth and cell development. I am all for that. I know it's not a persuasive speech, but I'm definitely all for that. I love that it helps more people learn about the human body. People are constantly wanting to know more, so it really helps. It really is an advantage on science's side. It also holds the key to reversing the effects of aging and prolonged life, which is great for people like Madonna or Cher that really want to stay young forever. So that's always good. And it also enhances the study of developmental stages that can't be studied directly in a human embryo. So the parts of babies that you can't tell by an ultrasound or by just hearing a heartbeat or anything like that, it really helps you look into that and see the developmental stages that are there that scientists haven't figured out yet, so it's great. There's also a few disadvantages of stem cell research. One, according to corebloodcells.com, is that adult stem cells don't have a long storage life. So when you get them, you have to use them quick. They can't just sit there. They can't be studied for a very long time. They don't thrive as much as their embryonic counterparts, and it becomes difficult to maintain the cells for longer periods of time, which is, what I just said. And so they can't, it really gets hard to have them used for a long period of time, so scientists are working towards that. The harvesting and isolating procedures itself is difficult and have very tough procedures because it presents in mature tissues. So it's really hard to get stem cells. Stem cells don't, just come out of the blue. They really take a really long, hard procedure to get, and so it really gets very difficult to get those if no one wants to come forth and do it. It is also limited in number because these cells are available from the bone marrow of adults. So not many adults are gonna be willing to get stem cells or to give stem cells. They're not gonna be willing to say, "Hey, here, take my bone marrow, take this, use it for science," because people think that they need that, so it's hard. There's disadvantages of embryonic stem cells also, not just adult, that they take from the adult bone marrow. It involves the destruction of blastocysts from laboratory fertilized human eggs, so that's a real problem with a lot of people, especially pro-life people, because they're babies. I mean, they're growing fetuses, not yet anyways, but they will be. So a lot of people have problems with that. They're completely unknown as to what long-term effects would materialize, so they don't know what's coming from these eggs. They don't know what's coming from these cells, so they are working towards that. That's obviously a work in progress, but it hasn't come out yet. It may not be the solution for all ailments. I was under the impression that, these cells could fix a lot, all things, but it's just, it's just a limited amount of things. I mean, they can cure tons and tons and tons of diseases, but there are some things that obviously life takes from you. You can't cure everything. And it's difficult to control, and it takes many attempts before researchers are able to derive the desired cell. So it's really painful. It's really hard. So people have problems with that. It's not something that people like to talk about or people like to mess with. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions about stem cells. California Stem Cell Agency at the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine has many different myths and misconceptions regarding stem cell research. A couple examples are that many people are pro-life and are against stem cell research because they believe the embryonic stem cell lines come from aborted fetuses. This is not true. Embryonic stem cells only come from 4 to 5 day old blastocysts or younger embryos. These are basically like little not petri dish babies, but they're not babies yet. They're not they're barely fetuses. They're just embryos. They're not, they could have the chance to be babies, but they're not. They're not going to. They're in the very, 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 very early stages. It's not because a woman got it aborted. She donated her eggs. There is also rumored that stem cells are as good or better than embryonic stem cells. And I learned a lot about this. It was really interesting to me. It said that they're extremely valuable and have great potential for future therapies. However, these cells are very restricted in what they can do. So they really can't do everything. Embryonic cells are a little bit better. So, that is kind of a myth that's kind of true. But I think adult stem cells help you more than embryonic. They help it heal faster, and they help it heal stronger. Blood-forming stem cells can treat some blood diseases, and brain stem cells may be able to treat some neural diseases, but those stem cells can't turn into other tissue types, which is really a bummer. Adult stem cells also don't grow indefinitely in the lab, unlike embryonic stem cells, and they aren't as flexible in the types of diseases they can and can't treat. So what I took from that is that adult stem cells aren't, they can't do as much as embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells obviously help a lot more. So I think embryonic stem cells are actually in the direction we're heading. It's definitely a lot better, I feel like, to have the embryonic stem cells. Alright, so doctors and scientists all over the world are excited about stem cells. Science is going a long way with these because they have potential in so many different areas of health and medical research. Studying stem cells may help explain how serious conditions such as birth defects and cancer, they can help cure those. They can help learn more about them and kind of prolong the life of people with birth defects and cancer. Stem cells may also be used for therapy and cures of many diseases such as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, spinal cord injury, heart disease, diabetes, even arthritis, the diseases I was talking about. Embryonic adult neural stem cells equally have advantages and disadvantages, which have become very controversial, and many countries have been successful with stem cell research, such as Australia, Belgium, Brazil, and even Canada. There's so much about stem cells we don't know, but I really hope we learn more in the future about what stem cells can do for the human life.